Hello and welcome to day 7 of our SAT Maths Masterclass. Today we'll be discussing on the topics probability and relative frequency and also evaluating statistical claims. Last time we discussed so much about the graphical questions in the SAT related to scatter plots, linear and exponential growth and also the center and spread of data. So, moving on to the first topic of the day, which is probability and relative frequency. Over here, we're going to learn about the two-way frequency tables and how we can use the data given in this table to find out the different probability related answers. So, in the introduction, I think it's important that we know how to use the relative frequency table, and I feel like that is the best way of ongoing with how to explain relative frequency. So, in the given table over here, we have a two-way. In the x-axis, we have one certain information related to people who either own a skateboard or either who do not own a skateboard. And the other side, we have a group of people who either own a bike or who do not own any bike at all. So अब के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि तपाईँको एकपट्टि डेटा हुन्छ अर्कोपट्टि डेटा हुन्छ and that makes it two-way. Hence why it is called two-way frequency data. अब यसमा चाहिँ हामीले चारवटा possible conditions देख्न सक्छ. Number one, a group of people who have both the skateboard and also the bike. The other group of people who do not have a skateboard or do not have and also don't have a bike. And then we have a group of people who only have either a bike or a skateboard. अब त्यो चाहिँ हामीले कति छ भनेर बुझ्न सक्नुपर्छ. For example, people who have both skateboard and bike, owns a skateboard and own a bike is 4. So that is 4 people who do not own a skateboard and also do not own a bike is 7. People who only own skateboard is 11 and people who only own bike is 3. So your data say at least हामीले लेख्न सक्नु पर्यो or we need to know this accurate data say. Now, if you want to go into probability, a question like this can be asked. Jackie asked his classmates whether they own a bike or a skateboard. The results are shown in a table above. If a classmate is selected at random, what is the probability that they do not own a bike? So in this case, we need to find a classmate that is chosen in random that would not own a bike. So the amount of people who do not own a bike at all is 3. But also 7. So this means that the total amount of people who do not own a bike at all is 10. किनकि तिनटाले बाइक ओन गर्दैन तर स्केटबोर्ड ओन गर्छ. तिनटाले सरी 7ले बाइक पनि ओन गर्दैन स्केटबोर्ड पनि ओन गर्दैन. So if we add up which total sum has been done over here 10 हो. अब we need to find the total population of the survey conducted. So that is going to be 15 plus 10 and the total is given over here 25. So the probability is going to be 2:5. The probability of a person being casted or being selected who do not own a bike at all is going to be 2:5 ratio map. Similarly, if 3 by 4 of the students in the two classes play an instrument, how many students in Dr. Yukovich's class play an instrument? So we know that in this question, I guess we're dealing with finding out the missing values as well. So if 3 by 4 of the students in two classes play an instrument, how many students in Yukovich's class play an instrument? So we have Dr. Roman class who play instrument are 20 and who do not play an instrument are 11. Total 31 sir. Hey. Ani, we know that Yanira it's empty, and it makes a total of 33 people, and which gives us 64 people. Our 33 people मा कतिले चाहिँ play instrument and कतिले चाहिँ instrument play गर्दैन, we have to know, and त्यसको लागि a data has been given over here. If 3 by 4 of the students of the total students play instrument into class play instrument, which shows 20 plus X student, 20 students from Dr. Romel's class and X students from Dr. Yukovich's class. So, which is going to give us and this data itself is going to give us the answer. Now for that would be 16, so 48 is equals to 20 plus x. Therefore, the number of students in Yukovich's class who play an instrument is going to be 28. So how many students in Dr. Yukovich's class play an instrument? The answer is going to be 28. So in this way, we can even use the frequency table itself to find out the missing values in our question. Now moving on to the second topic, which is evaluating statistical claims. So as much as we have to do no calculation whatsoever, but we need to know how samples work. Last question upon we have to deal with samples and we have to find out the answer. So as much as we have to find out the difference between good and bad samples and how to find out the difference between those two. And at times we have to draw valid conclusions from the results and the surveys that have been taken place as well. So, Ismati, I think the best way to go forward is through an example again. A school district employs 2,000 teachers in its 40 elementary, middle, and high school. A high school teacher working for the district believes that teacher job satisfaction varies greatly from school to school and wants to estimate the proportion of all teachers in the district who are satisfied with their jobs. Now we have to find out which way would be the best way to find out whatever she wants to find, which is that she wants to find out if the job satisfaction between teachers is good and how it depends in different schools. So your case Matse, she has three different ways to survey. Her first way of surveying is surveying using 40 randomly selected high school teachers in the district, or surveying the 10 highest paid teachers in the district, or surveying 50 randomly selected teachers from different school districts. Yeah, it's important to know what the objective is, which is to find out the teacher's job satisfaction in different school throughout a certain district, not throughout different school districts, but through a certain district. And this is about randomly choosing people to find out the most accurate answer. So, अब हाम्रो फर्स्टमा के भनेको छ serving 40 randomly selected high school teachers in the district, which seems like a pretty good way of doing it. You are taking the people randomly, and also it's only inside the district that she wants to survey in. So that seems like a doable answer. The second way of surveying says surveying the 10 highest paid teachers in the district, which does not make sense. First of all, किनकि throughout the text पेमेन्टको कुरा गरेकै छैन अनि कति कमाउँछको कुरा गरेको छैन. Also, even using some common sense, we know that, of course, if you try to survey the 10 highest paid teachers, they obviously are going to have better job satisfaction because they are earning more money. Similarly, अर्कोमा भनेको छ surveying 50 randomly selected teachers from 50 different school districts. अब 50 randomly select गर्नु makes complete sense. तर हामीले एउटा मात्रै स्कुल डिस्ट्रिक्टमा नभइकन we are trying to do it in 50 different schools. 50वटा different स्कुलमा किन गर्ने when we are only trying to find out from one particular school. Hence, the correct answer is going to be, or the correct way of surveying is going to be our first way. This itself is evaluating the statistical claims. And this is what we'll be doing in these type of questions. Now, I mentioned what a good sample is, but how do we find out what a good sample even is? It can be done by finding out if the data is correct or not, and also by finding out if the data is randomly taken or if it is taken by a certain group like मान्छेलाई. Now, a good sample should be representative and random. Representative भन्नाले यसले चाहिँ जुन पनि क्वेसन रिलेटेड सर्वे गर्न खोजेको छ त्यसमा पर्ने सबै डिफ्रेन्ट टाइप अफ पिपललाई इन्भल्भ गरेको हुनु पर्यो. एन्ड बाई ऱ्यान्डम इट मिन्स फर इक्जाम्पल आज मैले I work in a restaurant and I made food here. And I want to have a quick survey on how the food was. I cannot just go outside and ask people who have not entered my restaurant at all. That will not be representative. Similarly, random manibutike, I cannot only go to one table and only ask the three people who were eating that how did they feel about my food. If I want it to be a good sample, instead of going एउटा ठाउँमा म सबै 4 5 chairs को एउटा एउटा मान्छेलाई सोध्थेँ, or maybe I'll go over here and go over here instead of just going एउटा मात्र stallमा or एउटा मात्र tableमा. Therefore, always try to find out the answer that is always going to be representative and also random. So, what does it even mean being representative? Representative means that the sample includes only members of the populated being studied. मैले भनेको जस्तै instead of taking the people who जसले मेरो रेस्टुरेन्टमा खाएकै छैन I only take in the people who have eaten at my restaurant at that given time. Random भन्नाले that means every member of the population being studied had an equal chance to get selected. I cannot only choose a certain group of people. जति पनि ग्रुपको people I can choose from त्यसबाट चाहिँ सबै मान्छे सेलेक्ट हुने चाहिँ equal opportunity भएको हुनुपर्छ. A bad sample normally consists of the following things. Consists of subjects that aren't even mentioned in the data given to us. For example, last question of भनेको थियो trying to take 10 highest paid teachers, which makes no sense because being the payment has no coherence or has no relationship with the data given to us itself. So that needed a bad sample. A bad sample, a sample that is either underrepresentative or overrepresentative of a certain group or subject. Just say our third point was about taking surveys from 50 different school districts, which means that it was being over-representative. Finally, भन्दा पनि बढी ठाउँबाट डेटा लिइरहेको थियो, and also it was not choosing the right group to study. So these points have to be kept in our mind when you're trying to solve any questions related to it. Here's another example. A study was conducted to compare two biology study aids, a new online game, and a physical flashcard. 80 middle school biology students were selected at random, and their parents chose which study aid their child uses. The results showed that the student who used flashcards had significantly better outcomes than students who used the online game. Based on this information, which of the following statement is true? A. Flashcards are a more effective study aid than the online game for all middle school biology students. The lack of random assignment means there could be other explanation for the study results. The lack of a control group makes comparing flashcards and the online game impossible. And D, none of the statements are true. So it's now we have to go back to the question itself. A study was conducted to compare two biological aids, blah blah and blah blah, and 80 middle school biology students were selected. So it is only done in middle school and that only for biology weighted students. अनि उनीहरूको पेरेन्ट्सले चोज के पढ्ने हो कुन युज गर्ने हो भनेर अनि रिजल्ट्सको अनुसार चाहिँ द पिपल हु युज फ्ल्यास कार्ड्स हेज सिग्निफिकेन्टली बेटर आउटकम देन स्टुडेन्ट्स हु युज दि अनलाइन गेम अब बेस्ड अन दिस इन्फर्मेसन राइट आन्सर के हो D. None of the sorry. C. The lack of a control group makes comparing flashcards and online game impossible. This information has not been mentioned in the paragraph itself. One important thing that I've mentioned even in our reading and writing section of SAT is as long as the data is not in the paragraph itself, it becomes irrelevant. त्यसरी नै यो C पनि irrelevant हुन आउँछ. B. The lack of random assignment means that there could be other explanation for the study result. Again, there could be other study results, but from what we know, we have to find out a correct statement that works with the paragraph itself. And B does not do that. Now, D says none of the statements are true. And A says flashcards are more effective study aids than the online game for all middle school biology students. And although it was taken at random and it was only conducted in a particular place, we through the randomness we know that it does make sense and that we can trust it. Therefore, A is going to be our correct answer. And since A is our answer, D, which says that the statements are not true, is automatically wrong.